Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Come on, come one, come all. Let's get everybody in the room. I got a few things we're going to talk about today. It's going to be interesting. Some of the projects I have been working on this week. I hope you all had a great week, especially those who will watch this on the replay on YouTube. All right, we're going to go to, let's see. Let's pull our first topic up here, folks. There we are. There's our first topic for today, guys. You can see what it's going to be. Da, 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 da. These guys right here. I'm really got my eye on this guy right here. Yeah. That's a pretty fancy paint job, I got to admit. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Crazy. There we are. All right. We're ready to rock and roll. 4 minutes and counting. Should we do another countdown? Should we do another countdown? Indomitus, guys. And yes, I am doing Ultramarines. I have not done Marines or any Warhammer 40K for over 10 years. So I dove back in. Dove right back in. Cheers, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good night tonight. We do have a viewer out there, 2 viewers. How's it going, guys? How's the audio sound? I'm coming to you live from the beautiful countryside of Delaware, Ohio. Thank you, sir. Thanks, Matt. Matt Garbino did some Blood Angels. Yep, those are nice. Yeah, I've kind of wanted to here for a while, guys. I've just kind of wanted to get back to my gaming roots. I haven't found anyone locally I can play Dungeons and Dragons with, although I understand there's a lot of guys out there who are playing Dungeons and Dragons on Discord. And we're going to plug our Discord group here. Let's go ahead and we're going to go to our Discord. We've got some really good stuff going on over there. This is the Warhammer room, and I want to point out to you guys who are just getting the word that Discord is a thing. It really is picking up a lot of steam, and you can see here on our group here, we've got, I call them rooms, but they're technically called text channels. And you see here I have it all broken down. We got hobby jams because I like to share the music I'm listening to when I'm working here in the studio, especially later in the day. Movie recommendations. We'll go to that. The other day I recommended this Vincent Price movie, and I just see here Age of Samurai. It's kind of like a docudrama. Very good, because that is coming to the channel next year. Yes, samurai battles. I've been wanting to do it for years. I've got the whole seasons planned out currently. We have another group game coming up here March 20th, Hail Caesar. Those of you who would like to be on the podcast live with me, on the screen with me, you have to get on my Discord group. those are the only individuals who are able to get onto the live streams. All right. Only Discord group members. All right. No guests today. So we got fantasy. Nothing's in fantasy. We need you guys to get over there to Discord and put whatever fantasy games you're currently working on. Put some Star Wars stuff up this morning. Part of my Star Wars figure collection. I have some of the originals way back there in the corner, the original Boba Fett. Really like those. So yeah, what I've been working on this week, man, it's been a great week. I've had an amazing week. Going to start my season for my business next week. Next week, I'm getting started, so I won't be posting as many videos, probably a couple a week. I do get really busy in March and April, guys, and through May, so you'll just have to bear with me. Going to try to keep up with the live podcast once a week, Saturday or Sunday afternoons. But as soon as the weather improves, and it has here in central Ohio, we are getting tomorrow up to 60 degrees. We had a foot of snow out there a week ago, and it's been steadily melting all week as we got up into the 40s this past week. So yeah, I mean, a lot going on, getting down here in the studio, working on things. But honestly, guys, I'm going cabin fever crazy here. I want to get out. I've got plans this week to get things started. I will be out in the field. Got estimates over here on my desk. So I have to be really careful. I have an established business. I've been in this business 30 years. So I have to be very careful who I take on as a customer. I typically will only take on neighbors of existing customers. That way I can build route density, right? And I can be done by 2 or 3 in the afternoon. All right. So, yeah, so some of the things I've worked on this week, lots of projects. I really feel when I come down here in the mornings, it's like not really a job, but it's a functioning studio. I've got projects going on. I got things on the printer. I got people contacting me. We're talking about projects. We're talking about upcoming games. We'll get into that later. So stay tuned for this March 30th game. I'm going to show you what we're doing to get prepared for this game. I just put my list together, my Roman list, and it was a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying that. I love the list building aspect of the hobby. But one of the things I was cranking here in the studio was this. Just came off the printer like 20 minutes ago. It's a tent, and it's going to be a Roman tent. I'm going to make a small Roman. I've got the Roman fort, and then I want the tents for the Romans to sleep in. Now, here's what I've been working on, guys. Any of you have been watching the channel and paying attention to my Giddy X-Maker journey, knowing that I'm really loving that printer. It is really fun, and it really does a great job. I started with this little guy, right? This little guy right here. Now, technically, from Thingiverse, guys, this was a 28 millimeter tent. Now, it would be perfect for like one adventurer if this was like D&D or something, and I had a little camp that I made for my adventurers. But I thought, that's really, I pulled out one of my strips. I'm going to do 4 more stands of Imperial Romans. This is how I do it, guys, even with my 15 mil. I use the popsicle sticks. You can buy these in bulk. And I just glue them with white glue onto here, and that way I can speed paint. And what I'll do is I'll get these guys out. So what I did was I scaled the small tent up to a higher scale. And something's wrong with my image. John Eagle says, that's weird. It's very narrow. Your head is twice as tall as it's wide. Interesting. I don't know what that could be. And here I am. I'm back again. I don't know. It might just be, it could be something. Hello. It could just be something that's maybe in on the internet, or maybe your stream on your internet. Anybody else see that my image is not accurate? On my end, I look fine on the screen, so it's hard to say. But so I am going to scale this larger tent down just a little bit. I think it's a little too big now. And this is where you can get in a little difficulties with the prints on getting them correctly scaled. So I'm going to scale this down just a little bit, start another print here after the show, and then I'll just crank like 6 of them out and get them painted for the upcoming game. We'll have a little, I'm not going to have the fort on the board this game. I'm just going to have a little tent city for the Romans just for some flavor. And so yeah, that's really with the printer. I've been working on that. I printed another ballerina and painted it for my daughter. So yeah, I'll show you real quick what we're working on here on Thingiverse. I'll bring it up on the screen here for you guys. And it's a little camp. The guy, now he only provides 4 of these files for free to print. And then, of course, he runs a print farm, so you could contact him. He could print you this whole camp. So that's something you guys need to keep in mind. If you don't want to get into printing, you still want to get some things that you can't find out there in the world, so to speak, as kits. There's a lot of these guys out there, and they can print you stuff up. So I basically picked one of the tents. He has, I think, 3 to choose from. He's got a beautiful medieval tent that would be perfect for medieval games. So yeah, so you can contact him also. He'll sell you the file, but this was a good print that printed up really well. It is scalable. As you see, I did a little tent and I did a big tent, and now I just need to make a medium tent. And I think that'll end up being the perfect size for my Romans. So, yeah. We've got some more guys coming into the room here. Welcome. And we'll go ahead and let's get back to the Warhammer, and we'll get back to where we were with the 40K. And you can see here, I'm really loving getting back into this. I'm excited. The new models are amazing. If you have not checked them out, they're very dynamic poses. You can see here, this guy I'm really eyeballing. He's kind of pricey. I think he's 200 points. The group I'm playing with locally here, that's 40K players. We don't know if they're going to come here to my studio or we're going to travel. I'm going to travel someplace else, but we're planning an upcoming game. It is all from the Indomitus kit. So far, there's 3 of us, and I'm bringing Ultramarines, and I have 750 points. So I spent some of yesterday working out how I build lists now, since I have not played the games for at least 10 years. And so learning the ropes. I just got my Ultramarines. It took 2 weeks through Amazon. And I got to say, I'm pretty much going to just be dealing with Noble Knight games. Anything that's game related for the studio, I'm going to be giving my business to Noble Knight Games. I'm just going to call them. I'm going to talk to a human being. I'm going to talk to them about what I'm looking for and putting me together a list and then ship it UPS. I'm not dealing with FedEx anymore. And I don't want to deal with U.S. Postal Service as little as possible, because they are a wreck. A wreck. Anything that's U.S. Postal Service, I order from Amazon, either gets lost, right, or comes 2 and 3 weeks after they said it was going to be delivered, right? So, it's like anything the government touches, it is ruined. Okay, I'm friends with our postman. He's a great guy. He does a good job. He's super nice, and he told me that they're a wreck, that he can't wait till retirement. Basically, he says it's so poorly managed. They can't keep people. Imagine that. So yeah, so I got the Indomitus box. It's been sitting here in the studio up on my build shelf. I tell you what I did differently here, guys. was really my first time trying out the new Vallejo Air. So my base coat was in black through the airbrush. And then I said, hey, I'm going to just make this a little easier on some of these armies I'm painting. If there's a similar color like ultramarine blue, I ordered Vallejo Air Cells Ultramarine Blue. It worked great. I put my typical fish sinker in the bottle, shook it up good, straight into the airbrush, no watering it down. It came out of the airbrush perfect. I did all the Indomitus Ultramarines with my airbrush. Worked beautiful. What a great tool. So that eliminated not only time painting with a brush, the Ultramarine Blue base color, but I tell you the finish that it gives you. No brush strokes, nice and smooth. So as I replace my Vallejo paints, as I say, run out of buff, it's getting replaced with Vallejo Air. Because here's the other thing I found this week, guys, and this is how the hobby goes sometimes. You just stumble onto things. That Vallejo Air is not only ready to go straight into my airbrush, right? It's the perfect consistency that I like when I'm using my paint palette, as it were. I personally don't like to use a wet palette. I do have one. To me, it keeps the paints too wet, too runny. And I don't do super long paint sessions. I'll paint for 30, 45 minutes tops, and then I take a break. And I'll do one color, then another color, and just work my way through my base colors. So that's a hot tip for you guys out there. That Vallejo Air, I really like the consistency of it on the brush also. Because right now, the last couple of days, I've been just picking out the details. I've been doing, just like here on the website, I'm picking out the white. I'm going to go back in and do my highlights on the edges. I'm going to do a light brown wash. And I'm really loving these models. Like I said, the poses, the details, I tell you, Games Workshop just knocks it out of the park, guys, with their kits. That high pressure injected molding system that they have that's proprietary. I mean, it gets insane details. There's hardly any cleanup on these models at all. And the cool thing when I got into this kit more was how the figures and the models fit together like jigsaw puzzles. So they're really working hard over there to prevent piracy and people copying their models, because they really are like putting together little jigsaw puzzles. So there's that. I'm really enjoying this. I highly recommend it. If you haven't been in 40K, I highly recommend it. But you can see the ridiculous models they're cranking out. He's definitely on the list. And now that I have the Ultramarines Codex supplement, and I can start really looking at the data cards and start honing my list. Like I said, I'm going to have 750 points. The kit also comes with some bikers, 3 of the Space Marine bikers, which is cool. I have not assembled those yet. I don't think I will need them for the game. And I'm pretty sure I'm playing against another faction of Space Marines, and I think Tyranids. But I got to tell you, those Necrons that come with the Indominus box are amazing. I'm going to have a lot of fun, and there's one that's really big, a big model that I'm looking forward to building and painting. So, and same thing on that black base coat, I'm going to get me probably maybe like a copper, or maybe just like a dark bolt gun metal type color from Vallejo Air, and just run it right through my airbrush. And man, does that make it go a lot quicker. Then it's just picking out the details and getting your basing done, and your army's ready to go. So there's that. Hey, Simon, what's up, man? He's the wizard. Get on over to the Discord group, and you can meet the wizard. The wizard of Discord is Simon Drury. Great modeler. He's really puts up excellent content. He really is a great contributor to the group. And he isn't a little soft little cry boy baby. So Simon knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, we're just over there having fun, guys. And just, sharing the hobby. It's great connecting with guys who are interested in the same things you're interested in. Okay, now let's go right on over to the latest War Games Illustrated. We want to give them a plug before we get to my Hail Caesar content. What we're going to be doing with the list building for that on March 20th coming up here. I always plug War Games Illustrated. No, I am not sponsored by them. No, I do not receive any money, but I believe that we should all be subscribers to this magazine. I do the Prime because I can get copies on my tablet when I travel. I can read them on my cell phone. I've got the big dog Samsung, so it's easier to read for me. And I get the mail copy that comes every month in the post. Now, this is that pays for itself, guys, because you get usually an included sprue of some kind. Now I got 4 or 5 sprues over here. I haven't torn into yet, but I gotta say, that's a nice little perk, because you just never know as you travel along through the next year or two when you might need that sprue of figures to include in one of your games. So it's a great perk. So not only supporting a magazine that supports the hobbies, I'm also a subscriber to War Games Soldiers and Strategy. They only have 6 times a year publication, but it's still an excellent publication. I really love reading the articles and connecting with the other gamers in the articles. But this hasn't caught to me yet, but I always try to do a preview. They will send me an email. They send me a notification on my phone that the issue's on its way for me. And I always like to look to see what's coming up. And I just tell you, this is what's so great about this magazine is, you got your medieval knights, right? I'm definitely going to put on the channel here. I have some stuff I'm converting, as anybody watches my videos. Wargaming Rehab. I'm rehabbing some guys right now, and we'll get to that. We'll get to the Hail Caesar. Hold on. Just hold your little horses. Battle Bull Run. Right? American Civil War. And that's big on my radar. 28 mil Perry plastics and some Perry pewter. It's going to be in my life at some point here. I don't think it's going to make it to the channel this year, guys. I've got too many projects. I've got a backlog of stuff. I still have Star Wars Legion kits I haven't even unboxed yet on my build table, or my 2 build table. So we'll get to it. I want to bounce around a little bit. I still play Legion. I do solo games here in the studio. I really love the game. I love the rules. So this is going to make it to the channel. I'm probably thinking as we slide into December, and I don't have any group games planned for December's anymore. And that's when I start bringing in the new kits for the upcoming YouTube season. All right, it's on the list, and so is Armada, guys. Star Wars Armada, you Armada fans, it's coming to the channel. So I really thought this was sweet. Look at this, guys. Return to Ice Station stripy horse, but it's alien, right? You got the alien kits out there. That looks like a lot of fun to do skirmish battles. Not a whole lot of models. Get your 5 or 6 aliens built, knock up some freaking 28 mil troops of some kind, futuristic troops. Boom, you got yourself a game. So lots of good stuff. Every bullet has its billet. They've got builds, kit builds, and scratch builds for buildings, for forts. And there's all the great advertisers on there that we need to support as wargamers. All right. So there's that. I'm sure a lot of you guys that are watching this, even on the replay, are probably already subscribed to this magazine and know how great it is. By the way, War Games Illustrated, if you see this, I am available for advertising. Just saying. Hey, I'm a businessman. All right, let's get that closed out. Let's go back to what I really want to talk about. I'm trying to keep the podcast a little shorter, guys. So 2 hours is just a lot longer to upload when they go to upload onto YouTube. And I got to say, I got to get another drink, and I'm firing up the grill tonight, guys. We're doing barbecue ribs, and my wife and I have an amazing way we make our ribs. Impeccable standards. All right, let's get on to the main thing I'm going to be working on here over the next couple weeks. As I showed you, I've got my Romans. I got 4 more stands of these, 10 per stand on my custom movement bases. And we're treating that one of those units as a standard unit. Anyone that plays Hail Caesar. But this is what we're building from, guys. And this was really my first list building with this game system. The last game we had here back in January, it was 3v3. It was a great game. Got the video. Go watch it. My friend Zach in our group, he did the lists on that game. I just provided some of the figs. And we're building out this biblical and classical period. And I got to say, there's a lot of great lists in here, and they're fun lists. Now, those of you guys that follow my channel and my group on Discord know about my elephant. And how Mr. Philip out there, he cracked the elephant code. He combined the elephant with my standard unit of Roman cavalry, and they were just stomping people down over there on his flank. I'm going to go down here. You can see the list of all of the different armies that you can build. And that's another army that's on my list for next year, guys, as an Egyptian army with chariots. And yes, and I want to build some chariots for the Romans also. They've got some really great stats. They have some good strategy to the game. Now this game, I'm adding on light archers, and they're from my Wargaming Rehab. They're from my old kit. I've got them on the table right now. They're gonna be based up 10. I'm gonna have 2 units of light archers. That's something we did not have this last game. I'm going to be adding, well, I've got my 2 scorpions. I want to build another type of artillery, probably a couple of catapults. So like most well-rounded armies from either Napoleonic, American Civil War, World War II, you want to have that artillery element, right? You want to have that cavalry element. You want to have that good infantry element, right? So I'm going to have some barbarians that are going to be auxiliary troops for my Romans. I'm going to have my 2 standard units of light archers so I can hail some arrows down on those Macedonians. And I got my 2 scorpions, right? Cavalry and my elephant. Now the list I'm building off of, guys, I'm going to scroll down because I kind of forget the name. There's Imperial Romans, which I zeroed in on. And then Philip helped me out and said, there's another Roman list. You can see I'm going to circle it. It's called Marian Roman. And in that list, they have the elephant. All right. So he's on there, and it's going to be a cool little list to play. Just tidying things up. I'm going to scale this dude down a little bit, and I'm going to make some tents for the Romans. Right. I got my Roman fort. I don't think I'm having him on the board this time. Maybe, maybe not. I haven't decided yet as I put the board together. But if you guys are interested in this time period, I really like the rules. They're straightforward. They're fun rules. They're not too, what's the word? Granular, right? So yeah, there's a little rule lowering going on during a game, but not a whole lot. So yeah, so I highly recommend this, and this is turning out to be a really great addition because you're going to basically have a lot of lists that you can play for years. And like I said, if you got some ancients that you haven't played with for years, they're sitting around somewhere in a box or a case, dig them back up, repurpose them. The 2 armies I featured on Wargaming Rehab, that was a Saracen and a Christian Crusade armies that I've just repurposed for Hail Caesar, right? So, hey, the Romans, when you conquered you, they rolled some of the conquered dudes into their army, right? So they were pretty resourceful in that regard. So yeah, so we went over the 40K that I'm working on. I went over my camp file on Thingiverse where I grabbed my little tent, and been playing with him this week and getting them resized. And again, let's go back to the Discord group. I want to show you guys who are not. I don't know what the scare it is. I think a lot of guys just are hooked on Facebook. And I got to tell you guys, I have not missed it. Now, I did notice the first couple days on my cell phone, I was reaching for that Facebook tab that was no longer there. And here's the other thing, guys. For me, I think it's better that I just don't have a bunch of access to my personal life, so to speak. Pictures of my kids and things that we're doing and this and that. And I like having this just down to pretty much all wargaming. We do talk about movies. We do talk about other things on the group. And I have areas where you can get on there and share a movie that you recommend, a TV show you recommend. So we'll put it back up here. We're having a lot of fun. And you see here, I put a Star Wars post up this morning. It's just like Facebook, guys. I just get into your photo gallery. The nice thing about my photo gallery on my Samsung phone is, and maybe some of you Discord guys don't know this, you literally click on the photos you want to share, and it's got a share tab, and Discord is even on the share tab. You can put it in the correct room you want it in. You can put a comment on there. If you've got the upgraded turbo, or I think they call it nitro, I can put up a bunch of pictures all at once if I want to. So we got 40K. We've had some good content on that the last couple days. We got to talking about the old Rogue Trader book last night. That was an interesting conversation. Lots of guys remembering those days. As you see here, the wizard's on there, putting all kinds of great content up for you guys to learn. 3D printing. You can see here, I've got my ballerina. I just finished her. I went ahead and painted this base black, and then I'm in the process now putting a couple coats of varnish, shiny varnish. Now that printer, this was an 11-hour print because I souped it up. I narrowed the lines down. I increased the density of the print. And I want you guys to see that ballerina, how realistic. She looks like a miniature wax figure. I painted her up. You see something else I'm working with is I put a little bit of varnish on her chest like she's sweating, right? And I got to say, man, this was an amazing print. And this is about twice the size of my original test print. And I was really happy how it turned out. I painted her today. This doesn't show it. I did a light air brush. This is just flat red, Vallejo flat red, and then I went back over with some scarlet, which has some orange to it. And it just made that tutu look translucent almost, combining those two colors together. But I want you guys to see how good of a print this is. I can see it really good on my computer here, but you can see her stomach muscles, right? You can see all of her muscle structure in her arms. And when I did my flesh tone over my buff, I like to use, as you guys may know, I like to use buff for my flesh. The regular flesh tones are usually too dark. And then once I do a couple of thin coats of buff, keeping that paint nice and thin, we don't want to hide the details. And then going over with the flesh tone, half distilled water, half flesh tone wash, it makes her skin look so real. It's ridiculous. Like I said, she's sitting out there now, and I was looking at it earlier thinking, oh my God, she looks like a freaking little wax figure, right? Like she's going to come to life. And this is what that X Maker can do, guys. I've been playing with the prints and getting the details down on models. I really need a lot of detail. Things like this, I increased the layer size so they print quicker, because by the time I base coat this and paint it, you're not going to see that, and it's just a terrain piece for a game, right? So it just depends on what I'm printing. You can see there in the background on that picture, my Ultramarines, they're coming along. I'll probably be done with them by the end of this week, but I really like them. Great kit, great models. So yeah, so let me get back here to this. Let's go down to some of the other rooms we have. American Civil War, we got some stuff coming in there. We were talking about how, where's my kit? Where's my new Warlord ACW kit? And then John, of course, puts a picture of a couple skids of kits that are getting ready to ship. So that's the kind of things we're doing here at the group, guys. You can see it's very much like Facebook, but it's much more private, right? People can't get into the group unless we invite them to the group or I give them the address to my group. And if we have any little naughty boys, little naughties come into the group, little crybaby boys, they're out of there, right? American War of Independence. I was just showing some of my older pictures from, this was actually the first game we had in the game hall. That was my old board. That's the old Warhammer mat that they used to sell. They don't make them anymore. And I just put it on it's basically a 6x4 tournament board. And I didn't even I don't think we had any terrain on there. We just wanted to play test. We hadn't played this rule set, Rise and Fight Again by Stand 2 Games in Nottingham, England. I wanted to show you guys something here. I'm going to be working with Historique. Rob had already play tested this with Rob from Historique. You can see these blind-sided wound counters. On the front of this wound counter is an American flag. And you can see how I'm opposing these British troops. Well, actually, these were Hessians. And what a beautiful army he had, Rob Rhodes. I just love those Hessians. Now, these are Old Glory Blue Moon 15 millimeter. And we just had, some homemade markers. There's could be George Washington, right? So you don't know, because you pick this at the start of the game, this number 7, that's your wounds for this type of unit, right? And I don't know how weak your troops are getting through the fight. This is important. Now, normally you have the flat wound markers, like the controversial ones that I had. And we usually flip them face down so you can't tell, because you don't want to give away how weak your unit's getting before it has to break. So I thought that was a great little thing, and I want to order some of those from Rob at Historique and get those. Here's another picture here. I don't think I can make it any bigger. I took it the wrong direction with my cell phone. But you get the idea, guys. We've got a lot of cool. So here's another good shot of it. Now here's one of my stronger units. This was probably more of a veteran unit, right? So it's got a 9 wounds to the unit before it can break. And yeah, I mean, we're just going toe to toe, man, like they did back in the old days. And you can see how amazing these minis are. Now, in all reality, that was probably this was my last 15 millimeter army. I've got, as many of you know, I have a shit ton of Flames of War stuff that I'm now using mostly for battle group. They're totally cross-pollinatable, right? You can use your Flames of War stuff for battle group easily. I'm just, I got that 12-foot table out there now, guys. I'm going straight to 28 millimeter, which now I know why the Perry brothers and the John Stoddard, they're all about 28 millimeter, because they got those giant ass tables. So anyways, that's kind of my thing. That's kind of how I'm going to roll. I have nothing against, smaller scales. I know small scales are really popular right now, especially 10 and 6 millimeter. I'm going to cap mine at 28 mil, I think. Also, the skirmish games. That 28 mil is perfect for that. We went over this earlier in the podcast. If you're looking at the replay, guys, and if you're in the group, feel free to put movies up there. I don't care if they're not even wargaming related. If it's just a great movie, because right by now, guys, I don't know about you, but I'm getting about run out of stuff to watch. Okay, now this Age of Samurai just came out on Netflix. It's a docudrama. I really enjoyed watching that. I watched 5 episodes of it just yesterday when I was in the build area. And you're just like, oh my God, winter needs to be over. And some of you guys are on lockdowns because there's only so much TV you can watch. And I'm even finding that I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to get a little hobby burnout, just from all the kits and the things that I've assembled in the games that I've been running since December. It'd be a nice break to go on a nice 20-mile bike ride, go take a nice hike, just go for a drive. So, what's some other things I can point out here that we've been putting up here on the group? I threw up some old video footage, raw video footage I used on a video, an edited video. We're over at Rob's place playing his amazing battle group games. His tables are amazing. I think we were running like a 14-foot table by 6 foot. I think he was using like 10 tables set up with all this stuff that he runs on it. So go back and watch some of my older videos, some of those games that we've played the last few years. They're just amazing. The details. The thing to point out on that game, guys, was they all look like, because that was one of the 15 mils, but we played some 28 mil battle group with 28 mil figs that you'd use for like bolt action. And he mixed his 28 mil buildings with his 15 millimeter buildings. And I swear you could not really tell. And they just blended in nice. And it doubles the terrain on your board. So there's a tip for a lot of you guys holding group games or big games like this. If you got some 15 mil buildings and 28 mil buildings, you're playing 28 mil. Throw out those 15 mil buildings, guys. It makes your terrain, doubles the terrain, right? And of course, we just have our general discussion. I thought it would be a hoot. I was sitting down here this morning having a cup of coffee, and I thought, wow, I can't believe I'm basically done with this thing. And my studio's become like a workhorse. It's just cranking. We're playing games where I'm building kits. I'm down here play testing games. I'm watching good movies on my flat screen. And you can see here from some of the old photos what it looked like. And it was just piece by piece. So Gary the Wargamer, when you watch this or listen to this, I'm giving you encouragement to finish your project, and you're going to be making your own man cave. I think that's awesome. And those of you who are thinking about either putting in a hobby shed, or you've got a room you want to totally convert to just a wargaming room just for yourself, I say go for it. This was a big project. I bit a lot off, as I said on other videos. You just take it one step at a time, guys. You say, do this. And then the next time you work on it, you do something else, and you just chip away at the project, right? This was an 8-month project, right? It took me 8 months. So here's my hallway. That is now I call my hallway, where my display cabinets are going to be. And here's my hobby hutch, guys. That's what I literally was over here a little bit trying to get some painting done and some kits done when I didn't feel like, putting up drywall or ceiling panels and all that sort of stuff. Or I was waiting at one point for the electrician to come. We had to finish the final wiring and tie everything in. And my train layout, I was running it a little bit. But you can see it just basic nuts and bolts of the project. So there's the wizard again. He puts all kinds of great stuff up. He's got a massive collection. It's very impressive. All right, now let's get to some questions. I'll go ahead and get this off of there. We'll go through some of your questions, guys. Thanks for being on the show today. We got Matt. I just started my medieval English French list for Hail Caesar. Awesome, man. Fun game. Big Dog's in the house. Hey, Big Dog. Hey, guys, how's it going? It's going great, man. I had a great week. I hope you had a great week. And we got some kind of douchebag that put something up here, so we'll just block him right off of there. And we got Gusty. He's saying, good evening. How are you doing, sir? John, have you used a wet pallet? Yes, I have used a wet pallet, John. And just kept the paint too wet for me. I was saying earlier in the show that with my new Space Marines, I tried the new Vallejo Air. I did a black base coat. And then I came back in with my Ultramarine Blue, which is a color that Vallejo Air sells. And I tell you that consistency right out of the Vallejo Air, it goes right through my airbrush, perfect. I sprayed the whole kit of Ultramarines. I had no clog issues, nothing. It was tough to clean because there's so much pigment in that blue, but the consistency is the perfect. I don't have to water it down anymore. So as I replace my Vallejo paints, as they run out, I will be replacing them with Vallejo Air colors. So I can get double use. I can use them through my airbrush if I want to. And there's the perfect consistency for me. I put typically too much on my palette and I waste a little paint, but I put just a little bit because I like to just paint in short bursts. I'll do red on a group of troops like my Romans. So I'll come out with like my bolt gun metal, do all the armor, right? Then I'll take a break. That's kind of how I roll when I do my hobby time. And I'm down to my painting. Cheers again, guys. Got my nice little sea breeze here. Looking forward to after the show, firing up the kettle grill, the Weber kettle grill out on my front porch. And now that we're seeing some better weather here in Ohio, pretty much all the snow's melted. And I'm firing up on some ribs tonight, guys. Some good old country ribs. Baked potato, barbecue ribs. Of course, my wife, if you ever watched her channel, she makes her own barbecue sauce, homemade barbecue sauce with bourbon. Yes, with bourbon. It's amazing. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to grill up my ribs. Simon, I batch paint, so I have found the wet palette has stopped my paint drying out while I work. Yeah, it depends how big of a project you're going. I know a lot of the commission painters prefer a wet palette because of that reason. It just keeps that paint moist. It wasn't for me. I still have it out there. I bought one from the P3 company. It's got the lid and everything with it. For being, I like just using the small little circular palettes. They're easy to clean. I take them upstairs to the kitchen, throw them in the sink. It's got like a non-stick type stuff on it. And the paint comes off, and then I can keep reusing them. Yeah, I use Army Painter. Yeah, they make a great line of paints. Their wet palette, their paint is very thick, and I allow for the moisture to bleed right. Yeah, and that's one of the first things. Any of you new guys who watch the replay on this, that's comes down to the artist. We are artists. We are war gamer artists, and I keep saying it, because every painter develops his own style, likes the paints a certain thickness. And as I found, like on that ballerina I did today, keeping the if I do 2 coats of thin flesh and thin red on the tutu, you don't see the paint strokes. The paint is nice and smooth, and that's just with experience. And as many of you guys know, with my Vallejo, I'll put a couple I have a little dropper, and I'll thin them down, and I get that just the perfect amount in my palette. I try to where I just do enough for a batch, right? And then I get that consistency, so it really doesn't dry out. By the time I'm done and I would need to add more paint, I'm going to take a break anyway. So, but yeah, I have thought that, there's some of these big armies I've painted. I'm like, maybe I should get back out my wet palette. And that's just coming down and developing your own style. The color choices, that's a thing. I'll sit sometimes for an hour watching a documentary or something, and I will have my Space Marine sitting in front of me blank, like a blank canvas. And I'm thinking, maybe I should base coat these with white because I want that nice bright pop on that color. And I thought, no, I'm going to go with black because they got a lot of little recesses on their armor that I can just leave those dark and not even go into that area. So these are the kinds of choices you make as an artist. And then the color choices on the ribbons, say for these ultramarines, and the contrasting colors. I did 2 colors. I did my ultramarine blue, and now I'm using that. They call it, Vallejo Air has a color called electric blue. I'm using that for the tunics and things. I'm going to do different shades of red for their ribbons. And these are the kinds of things you work on, you know, their chest plates and their trim on their shields. I'm doing in white. So that really pops off of that blue. Yeah, so that's something I did want to try out sometime, dog. I'm not totally locked into Vallejo. I would like to have some variety. But like I said earlier in the show, I'm really, really liking that Vallejo Air. It's perfect consistency for me. And I can run it through my airbrush, no problemo. Just a pain in the butt to clean the airbrush. That I may put a lot of pigment in that ultramarine blue because I tell you, man, that took me like an hour. And I use rubbing alcohol to clean my airbrush big time. I learned that trick. There's a guy out there, I don't have it handy right now, but he has a great video out there on properly cleaning your airbrush. And I'm telling you right now, guys, if you don't clean that airbrush every time you use it, you're going to have problems. And if you clean it every time with rubbing alcohol properly, let it soak. I've had 0 problems with that airbrush since I started doing that. I even have a case. I buy the isopropyl alcohol by the case now because I also use it to deep clean my brushes, especially my dry brushes. I'll have just a little glass container and I'll put just a little bit of rubbing alcohol and I let those dry brushes soak, and it gets all that paint that collects at the base of the brush. It gets it right out of there. So if you're not using rubbing alcohol, I highly recommend it. And then of course, there's the Vallejo brush conditioner I will use after that, so it doesn't get the bristles too dry. You can't let a brush soak too long in rubbing alcohol, or it will huff the brush out. Hey, Philip, welcome to the show, man. Now, this is the guy who's new to our group. We're organizing the Hail Caesar game with. He's bringing his Macedonians. It's going to be a hoot. And so yeah, Reaper and Privateer. Yeah, I've used Reaper in the past, and they make really good paint. Any other tips you guys have? I just ordered some mission models paint for my Shermans. Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. I haven't tried it. Yeah. Right. Well, and then you got guys out here, they're just total Tamiya, man. That they don't use anything but Tamiya. Right. So that's a whole other thing. You know, I like the squeeze bottles because I'm really bad at wasting paint. I end up putting too much paint out and it ends up just drying up and gets cleaned upstairs in the kitchen sink. So yeah, I mean, like I said, we are artists and everyone has to develop their own choices. I'm a big color guy. I love color. You can see the paintings. I got more paintings around the studio, around my office. Claude Monet. I love color. I love the pop of color. That's just one of my things that I like. I found these. I got a green one over here below a green Claude Monet painting. I got my little boxes that are blue to match my blue. Yeah, I want to say Renoir behind me. But yeah, Tamiya, and I really love the Tamiya liquid cement with the little brush. That's what I use on my Space Marines when I was putting them together. That's what I'll use on most of my plastic model kits. I just like how it gets into the nooks and crannies. Sometimes that super glue, man, it's just a pain in the ass, and it gets all over my fingers. To me, it's fantastic for airbrushing, but I'm not a fan of the bottles. Yeah, that's the thing. If they would have a option for like a squeeze bottle of some kind, and those of us use the Citadel paints for years and years with the lid that's open, and you got to dip into the cap, and you're usually adding distilled water. And then don't forget, my tip is to get you a big bag of little well, not little, like medium-sized fish sinkers, the little circular fish sinkers. Throw those suckers in your paint bottles, pop that Vallejo cap off, plop one of those in there, and that helps a whole lot in mixing up the paints. But yeah, it's like Tamiya for modeling. I love the Tamiya kits. The Dragon kits are good too. I've got 4 armor dioramas I did a couple years ago for a competition, and they're a lot of fun. I'm going to be doing some more now that I have a shelf I can put them on. So yeah, I want to do some more diorama kits. I really just want to also get out of the armor. I want to probably do maybe American Civil War diorama, maybe a medieval diorama of some kind. I've got a couple that I did for my son. It was a Crusaders charging that I did for him, and I just did the Wall Street bull, the big bronze bull that's on Wall Street. I did a 3D print of that for him, and I'm going to give it to him tomorrow for his birthday. There's some other stuff we got him. So yeah, I'm going to be celebrating my son's birthday tomorrow. He's going to be 24. Oh my God. I got a 24-year-old kid, guys. I remember when we brought him home from the hospital when he was born. It goes quick, guys, and I'm telling you right now, treasure every minute of every day. Don't bitch and moan and be a little crybaby. Try to find the good out of every day, because each day could be your last. And any of you guys that are up around my age, you know how fast it goes. As you get older, it gets faster. So yeah, time flies, and we got to savor every day we can. Even if I'm out working, I just say, I'm just thankful I'm outside today. I'm thankful I had a pain in the ass customer I had to deal with today. Hey, at least it makes me feel alive, right? I tried that with the BBs, but the copper ended up bleeding into the paint. Yeah, I found the ones that I'm using, Philip, they're just the, I guess like this, it's like soft lead, you know, the little kind that you squeeze in the back and they open and close. I've not had that problem with those. The problem I've had is my supply is starting to get low. And because I just throw them away in the paint bottles. I don't save them or anything when my paint runs out. You can't get them on Amazon, right? Not those. I mean, I have to keep looking around, maybe go up here to my local bait shop just north of me here. I just live by Delaware Lake. That's where I fish. You guys maybe see my fishing pole over here. Yeah. Some days, like if, on a Sunday afternoon, I'll pop up to the lake here, and I just like to bobber fish, put an earthworm on the hook and throw out the bobber and see what bites. So yeah, I'll probably have to hit the bait store and pick up some more sinkers, because I'm getting low. Oh, you're saying you use the BBs. Yeah. I was going to try that, but no, I use the sinkers, like fishing line sinkers that you could attach to the fishing line right below the bobber. I had this giant ass bag I got from Amazon a couple years ago, and I'm actually getting low. It's hard to believe. I must have had 500 of those in there. All right, so we're getting into the end of the hour, guys. Going to be keeping the shows a little shorter. Like I said, once I get off the podcast today, I'm going to start. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to leave. Now, this isn't about wargaming, but I want to share with you guys this technique, this preparation technique for ribs my wife and I have developed over the years. Now, you go to the store a lot of times, or a restaurant, they give you a half rack, a whole rack. But we don't do that, guys, because I like them nice and crunchy around the edges. So what we have done is I cut them into individual ribs, right? Then we put them in a crock pot right around noon, 1 o'clock. Then we pour a bottle of Coke in there and some other goodies, diced up garlic, big slices of onion, because I like to throw those out on the grill because it makes the grill smoke up. And of course, you got to use a charcoal grill, guys. I got my Weber kettle out here. And then my wife makes homemade barbecue sauce with Kentucky bourbon, right? It's amazing. She cans it. But this, I tell you, once you start making your own barbecue sauce, guys, there's no going back. There is a local Asian restaurant, a high-end Asian restaurant we go to here at our local mall. that we love, Molly Woos. If any of you guys in the area, you know about Molly Woos. And we used to always get those Korean ribs as an appetizer, right? Short ribs. And I was like, God, this barbecue sauce is amazing. So I asked her, the waitress, one day, how do you guys make this barbecue sauce? She says, well, it starts with ketchup. And I'm like, ketchup? So then we got to realize that barbecue sauce is really ketchup that's been really doctored up. So that's when we started. This was probably 12 years ago. And I think we have not eaten store-bought barbecue sauce since. Now, we've got variations of that barbecue sauce. You can get on my wife's YouTube channel, Thrifty Chic Housewife. Yes, that is a shameless plug. She has a very successful channel. She's an Amazon affiliate. I'm very happy for her. She's loving it. She's a gourmet cook. And I tell you, she's got a bunch of different variants. She does a peach barbecue sauce now. We do a spicy. We got a mild. We've got the bourbon sauce that we're using tonight. And I tell you, once you start making your own barbecue sauce, there's no going back, guys. It just doesn't taste right. You put so many additives in it. It's basically a lot of corn syrup that's in those. And so yeah, hot tip for you. I single cut those babies. We pre-cook them in a crock pot, get them nice and not too tender. You got to get them just right. Take them out, let them cool off. And then when I grill them, I'm getting them nice and crispy. I like that crispy edge. And then right towards the end, I put them right over the hot coals. And I take them out. I put them we got this nice little platter bowl. And then I put the barbecue sauce on because I don't want to burn the barbecue sauce. And what the trick is, you get that barbecue sauce on a small saucepan and you get that barbecue sauce hot, almost boiling hot. And then you baste those ribs after you take them off the grill. Saturate them with that barbecue sauce. Let them sit for 5 or 10 minutes to get happy, nice and happy with that barbecue sauce. And let me tell you what, those are some damn good ribs because they're nice and tender. We get a little crispy, and they got that succulent barbecue sauce. Oh my God! So yeah, get over there on that channel. You need to start making your own barbecue sauce. All right, guys, thanks for coming to the podcast today. I really appreciate it. Glad that you're here. Shooting for another one next Saturday or Sunday at 3 p.m. unless we get another break in the weather, and I may be out on my bicycle with my wife doing the rail trails. But see, tomorrow, Sunday, it's supposed to get up to 60 here in Columbus. Hallelujah. That was getting old, man. We got hit by the snow pretty good this year. So looking forward to getting out onto the trails. I highly encourage you guys, if you're sitting around, get out, enjoy nature, go on some nice hikes, get you a good quality bicycle. Here in Ohio, we have the rail trail systems we're so grateful for. And just get out and experience the small towns, experience the great little restaurants and diners that are out there, and just enjoy nature and breathe some fresh air for once. All right, guys. Thanks again. Hold on. Yeah, what time is dinner? Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, this is one of the things you learn as you get older. Food is a big part of life, so we savor that, man. We spend more at the grocery store as we get older. We're getting better ingredients. We don't eat out a whole lot when we do. It's a special treat because, hey, man, we got it all mapped out. We're like, hey, strip steaks, or we're just going to, sometimes we do it simple. We'll just do a veggie night, right? We'll just do vegetables and really enjoy that aspect of life. Feeding ourselves with good food. Now it's all about portion control, guys. I can't eat a whole plate of ribs, but I will have them as leftovers for a couple of days. Right. So enjoy the ribs. Say hi to Carol. Yes, I sure will, John. Thanks for the salutations. I hope you and yours are well and everybody's feeling better. Cheers, Simon. Thank you very much. Hey, Simon, thanks so much for the contributions to the group. You've got some amazing stuff you put up that I really appreciate. Thanks a lot. Philip, I'm looking forward to getting my motorcycle out again. Oh, cool, man. Sweet. Yeah, I mean, I rode a motorcycle once. I had too many close calls, but now it's just the biking. I just love that so much. Good exercises, good exercise. So yeah, we got another channel. It's been kind of in not out a lot because last year's with the whole masking and the lockdowns and crap. But it's exploring with the Smiths. We probably got I had 12 videos planned for last season, and we did 5 last season before I pulled the plug because of all the lockdowns and all the rigmarole that was going on, and the things that we had planned. So I just rolled those videos over for this season, the 2021 season. So we'll get started on those starting probably April, May period. We'll do our first video, but if something else for kicks and giggles, if you guys want to get over to that channel, my wife and I share our travels and things that we do just for fun to try to spice life up. So it's fun and interesting. Exploring with the Smiths. You'll like those videos. They're really good. We even have one of our Caribbean cruises we highlighted on the channel, which is kind of fun to watch, and lots of our little travel adventures. So we're looking forward to getting back into that this season as things hopefully loosen up more, guys, especially you guys in the UK. My heart goes out to you, and hopefully they'll start actually letting you live your life again, right? So, and just everyone's just gonna have to take their chances, man. They can't keep things locked down forever, right? Or it's just gonna fizzle out. So keep your heads up, guys. Keep looking forward, and whatever you do, don't stop gaming. See ya. I'll see you next time.